Hello guys, welcome to our Peace in a Podcast. I'm Rachel,
And I'm Udgam.
and
So, you know how we've all been in lockdown for like the past 45 days, and we've all run out of things to do. Like, I've tried doing everything. I even learned baking, and I've taken up like three online courses, but I haven't worked on any of them. But like we've all run out of things to do, and we were just bored. So we thought, what would be like a good way to entertain ourselves and maybe entertain other people in the same way? So then we just thought a podcast would be a good idea, and so we came up with Peas in the Pod.
so I've tried. So in this quarantine, I've tried everything from like baking cookies to making dalgona coffee, but I feel myself still bored each and every day. Like I'm watching TV series, I'm watching movies, but I think that this podcast would be something that I can pour myself into, and along with Udgam, and something to entertain you guys too, like as a background noise or whatever for whatever you'll be doing for quarantine.
So yeah, quarantine's been pretty tough on me, and I think it's been tough on everyone as well. So I've like started reading three or four different books, but I've never completed any one of them. But like I try. So funny thing about this podcast is that we've been thinking of doing this ever since the whole Corona thing started. It's been over a month, and like we had exams. Oh, our school took online exams, and that's like the weirdest thing ever because we were all relaxed, thinking we wouldn't have to be studying for our exams, and we had to condense like a whole year's learning into like 2 days and go and give our exams. But I mean, we had our ways, we made it out, and I think we did pretty well in the exams.
Yeah, the first exam that like the first announcement of exam was only for lit lang students, and I'm in lit lang, so we thought it was the only lit lang exclusive thing. So we were pissed that the other students were not having exams, but we were the ones who had to suffer. So and then we were already in the exam mindset when rest of the teachers announced that even they're having exams. So I think we were a little bit better prepared than the other students because we knew what was coming. And yeah, it wasn't bad. Like I don't think anyone's failing, so I guess
Yeah,
it's okay.
it's not a pass fail exam. It's just like
Yeah.
just to make sure we've been studying, which we definitely have not been studying. Okay, another thing is the naming process for the podcast, because
Oh yeah.
like everything was up in the air about the podcast until like 3 hours ago. We were shuffling names here and there. A few we passed over like a few good names. So I love telling bad jokes, and knock knock jokes are kind of like my trademark. So now I was like, let's just name it Knock Knock, and I'll start every episode with Knock Knock. But then Rachel was like, it's too cheesy, right? But I would
And
have
it
absolutely
did
loved
hit.
it.
Yeah. So and Udgam, I think Udgam even tried a podcast name generator, but I don't think that ever worked out. And then I started
No.
thinking about podcasts that mana.
Bye bye. Go on.
Eh, and then I started thinking about podcasts that I listen to, like their names and how they come up with their names. I read a few articles too, but they were just like be creative or like put your name in it, and we're like, how does that help? So and then I listened to this podcast called the Campcast. I listened to this podcast called the Campcast, and then it just clicked in my mind like Campcast, Chromecast, and then I was like, maybe we should call it Homecast since we're like doing this from our own homes. And then Come was like, nope. And then we started thinking again, and then I was like, two in a pod. That was my first thing. Like we named it two in a pod cast.
Yeah.
Juicy.
But then I
Nice.
thought it would be better if we just called it Peas in the Podcast. And it's not just a random name that I whipped out from my big brain, but like it has a bit of significance to it because we're like peas, tiny people, and then we're stuck in our pods, which is basically our home. And so we're doing this podcast from our pods. So I mean, I think it's a pretty good name. I like it.
Yeah, now I like it too. And the logo that Udgam made, it's also really pretty.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, Udgam, we were thinking of naming this quarantine, right? For like quarantine
Quarant-
and time in quarantine.
Quarantine, and then I thought, you know, it's time for quarantine with like it's got a bit of that flair.
Yeah, but then I was like, if we want to continue this, if we're not if we're not bored with it by the end of quarantine, then we want to continue with more than quarantine would be a bit out of date. So we're like, let's think of new things, and then we settled on to when we settled on to peas in a podcast.
Yeah, speaking of new things, Rachel and I haven't even been friends for like a year, which is funny
Oh
because
yeah,
it feels like it's been forever.
yeah. I mean, I've been studying in Rata Bangla since grade 1, but Ugam is a new student here. And
He
before he
was,
joined, he used to follow me on Instagram. Like I knew who Udgam was, but I'd never, huh? Who
he
Udgam
was.
is, who Udgam is, but I never met him in real life, or like I'd never talked to him. And so I followed this meme page on Instagram called a Svet Shed. He's deleted now, but he was like one of the best meme pages ever. And like there was this one comment in one of his posts saying, anyone want to be in an Area 51 raid group chat, because that was big back then. I think this is like May, June,
Like,
when
yeah.
with the raid Area 51 thing had just started beginning, and there was the thing, and I replied because I wanted to be in a group chat. You know how if when you follow a person and they comment on it, you see the comment like stand out among others in a post. I think Udgam saw that, right? And then he commented that he wanted to be in the group chat too. So yeah, and then we were both put in a group chat, in the same group chat, and then I was like, oh shit, I know that guy, and he's like Udgam, and we're like, oh yeah, like we know each other. Yeah, and then we started talking from there, and then
You
I
know,
think school opened. Yeah,
that's not actually the first time we met. Because like this happened after school started, right? So then on the first day of school, they had given us this weird bingo thing, which I don't think anyone enjoyed a lot. But then the first question was find someone who isn't born in your country. So then Rachel, she just went running around the entire auditorium going like, I'm an American, I was born in the States. And I was
I
like,
was,
oh my God, this
I was,
girl.
I did not go running around. People came to me because they knew that I was born in America, and I don't know why they chose me.
So
They just seen the meme.
the two things I remember is basically Rachel being born in the States and Osmi being allergic to peanut butter or peanuts as a whole. Like those are the two things I took away from like a whole week of activities.
Like the whole first week, I did not know who Woodcomb was, because for the first week, I was sticking to like my friend group that I had like the beginning of the year, like before
Yeah.
new students. So I really did not. I really wasn't like communicating with new students, and I did not know what Woodcomb was properly. Didn't communicate with him, and then we finally started talking after we put into that group chat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This past year went like a breeze. Like we had so much fun. And you know, like the first maybe 3 months of our friendship was completely centered around just Area 51 and the raid. We even did an
yeah,
article for a school magazine on Area
yeah.
51.
Yeah, that was a good time though. We're just sitting in a meeting, right? We're thinking about what the and Jared was asking us to brainstorm about ideas for an article, and then I see Udgam. He was like next to me, and we are like, oh shit, we should do one on like Area 51, because that's literally how we met and shit, and like we were really interested in it, so we were like, yeah, we should. And then I think Udgam ended up doing most of the article because I was hung up on like replying assignments or something, and I could not.
Yeah, but
I was
it's a
not
pretty
able
cool
to.
article. It was pretty fun
Yeah.
writing the article. You know, I had like pop culture references everywhere. I even quoted when Lil Nas went like, "I'm gonna do a concert in Nevada." Okay, so you know this is like basically the first edition of the podcast. So we just wanted to talk about ourselves, but you know we've got a lot in store. We've been thinking about, so we're just thinking of inviting them, and we're gonna have tiny segments where we just have fun and share funny things. Like I'm thinking of having a segment where we share funny lockdown tweets. We're gonna play games, we're gonna do everything. You just wait and watch.
And listen, not watch.
Yeah, listen, of course, unless
Uh,
we're gonna do a face reveal at 1 mil, so you better watch out for that, I guess.
And I was thinking, maybe we invite people according to the topic that we want to talk about. Like for each session, like if we're gonna talk about some conspiracy theory, then we invite one of our friends who's most interested in it. Or if we talk about like a certain TV show or like a certain theme, we invite a person who's most interested in it among our friend group. And if any of you would like to be in our podcast, then like you can text us. If you want to give us ideas to talk about, which you want to be a part of too, then you can text us too.
Yeah,
And yeah,
and just so you know, this is, we're literally recording it on our phone headsets. So the only way from here is uphill, and it's gonna get better. Trust me. We're all like and we're gonna have lots of fun.
yeah, we don't even have proper mics, like proper podcast mics. So
Yeah,
we're sorry if the audio is really bad. And this is literally our first time doing this, so we're sorry if we're awkward.
yeah,
But I we'll get better. We'll get better with time.
yeah
Just
now. So it's gonna get better
yeah,
from here.
yeah.
Okay. So I guess this is it for our first episode of the podcast. Hope you guys had a
Thank
nice
you for
time.
listening.
We look
Thank you for
forward
listening.
to seeing you guys in the next one.